Hey, this is Yishai. That's Hebrew for Jesse, which is English for Yishai. I'm here at the kever of the Rambam, Maimonides, in Tiberias, Israel, about 200 meters below sea level, one of the four holy cities. This is Rabbi Moshe Ben Maimin. This is his grave. The Rambam lived, he was born in Cordoba, Spain, in April of 1135 or 1138. Nobody really knows for sure. But he died in Egypt in his 60s, and he went through a lot in his life. And then he ended up being buried here in the Holy Land in Tiberias. He's well known. He's a well-known rabbi. If you're Jewish, you probably have heard of the Rambam. He's a philosopher, and he was also a doctor. He's most famous for writing the Mishnah Torah and the guidebook for the perplexed, the Moreh Nevuchim. He wrote it in Judeo-Arabic. So he wrote it in Arabic, which was his lingua franca, the language that people spoke where he lived. It's because he lived in between the Jewish and the Muslim worlds in Spain and North Africa. He was very much influenced by that. He was also a contemporary of Ibn Rushd, Averroes, and also Aristotle, who came way before him, heavily influenced him, and also everybody before him, like Philo and etc., etc. So I would like to focus on prophecy. So the Rambam wrote the 13 principles of faith, 13 attributes of faith, and this is where we get all the anima means, and Yigdal, the song Yigdal, was also written based on them. Please excuse the noise. This is Israel. Everywhere you go, there's noise, so you just can't get away from it. So I'm gonna have to go for it because I've been sitting here for like 20 minutes trying to make a video. I'm just going for it now. So I'm focusing on prophecy and the Rambam's view on prophecy here. The Rambam wrote the 13 principles of faith, and specifically 6 and 7 deal with prophecy. I'm gonna show you. So here it says, these are all of them here written on this kever. It says, Ani Mamin Ba'emunah Shlema Shekol Divrei Nevi'im Emet. And it says over here, Ani Mamin Ba'emunah Shlema Shenevu'at Moshe Rabbeinu Elav HaShalom Haita Amitit V'shahu Haya Av Lenevi'im Lakodmim Lefanav Uleba'im Acharav. And this means, I believe with complete faith that the words of the prophets are true. And I believe with complete faith that the prophecy of Moses, our teacher, was true. That he was the father of the prophets, both those who preceded him and those who followed him. Moshe Rabbeinu become the biggest prophet in Judaism, So in the guide, in third section of the guide, 35, the Rambam gives us a list of 11 types of prophets, and he displays that a varying degree of intellect and imagination within their prophecies. And somehow Moshe was so profound and refined that the Rambam considered him the highest of the prophets because he saw Hashem face to face. Now we need to explain what this means, face to face, because even though Shemot 33:11 says face to face, we also have Shemot 33:20 that says, you cannot see my face, for no man may see me and live. And that's what Hashem said, right? So the Radbaz, Rabbi David Ibn Zimra, says that Moshe Rabbeinu has that he has intellectual apprehension about this because of these two contradictory verses. But the Rambam fixed the problem using his reasoning. He was the master at reasoning. He says Moshe received God's message directly through using his intellect. It wasn't just imagined. A lot of the other prophets had their imagination. They saw visions. They had dreams. But Moshe Rabbeinu actually, used his intellect, and he was so refined that he saw God face to face, allegorically. Right? It wasn't just imagined through images or parables. So this also, he says this in the guidebook for the perplexed 2:45. And then he talks about the 12 ascending levels of prophecy. And if you ever read the guidebook for the perplexed, it's amazing. So, actually, Rabbi Abravanel says of the Rambam, says, it was as if Moshe Rabbeinu was tuned into God talking to himself, like he was intercepting the message of God talking to himself, as if he intercepted a message and it was so intimate that it was like it was face to face. For this kind of prophecy, and the Rambam says you need to have such a refined character, and Moshe Rabbeinu was supposed to be the most humble person that ever lived, according to Jewish tradition. And so this refined character is necessary, and Rambam agreed with Aristotle that the logic was in the right direction here, and there's a good balance between logic and meditation, and there needs to be a mix. And so Halevi says in the Kuzari that direct divine intervention and logic and all of that, it makes sense. It makes sense according to the Rambam. So Philo of Alexandria, also who lived in Egypt, but way before Rambam, spoke Greek, didn't really know much Hebrew, but he was trying to bring Jews, keep them Jewish by bringing in all this Greek stuff that was surrounding him. He saw Moshe Rabbeinu, as a philosopher, and this paved the way for Jews to make the Torah more accessible to using logic, which was really big in the Hellenistic world. The big difference between Philo and Rambam is the use of the Hebrew language, since Philo used Greek mostly, and the Rambam spoke mostly Arabic, but he knew Hebrew really well. So much about prophecy, according to Rambam, is dependent on spiritual development and maturity of the individual. And I think that says a lot about religion and Judaism in general, to be a refined character. Like the Torah is supposed to make us better, supposed to serve Hashem and be better people. So I'll leave you with the view of the Rambam here. Ani Mamin be'emunah shlema. All the Ani Mamins. Ani Mamin be'emunah shlema. That I believe with complete faith that the teachings of the Rambam and all of our teachers will be within each Jewish person. We should really struggle to understand the Torah, and we do.